everybody, this is Bree from Young, Saved, and Free, and I'm back with another video. For everybody that's new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Brianna. I am the founder and creator of Young, Saved, and Free. And for everybody that's been here, welcome back to my channel. And I hope that you all are subscribed to my channel and that you hit the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. And make sure you're subscribed to my mailing list because I am going to be sending out a lot more things to you all through there that are going to be exclusive to the mailing list. So just make sure you do that. So this video we're going to be talking about my year in review. So we're going to be talking about some of the best moments I've had this year and also some of the lessons that I had to learn this year. So one of the best moments that I had this year, this is not in any particular order. One of the best things that happened to me this year was going to Chicago. I've never been to Chicago, and if you guys haven't seen the vlog, I'm going to go ahead and link that up here somewhere. I went to Chicago for the Go Getter Conference this year in September, and it was just a lot of new experiences for me, and I was so excited about it, and so elated to just be able to witness something like that, to witness, being delivered from my fears. First of all, because baby girl, flying was not one of those things that I was really interested in. I said, oh no. And even up to the flight, I was shaking, literally shaking. My hands were shaking. I couldn't do anything. I could barely hold my phone. It was a whole situation, but I got through it and I got to the conference and I was able to serve and able to do a lot of different things. So I'm really thankful that I was able to do that. Another special moment for me was moving to Thomasville. So this move was something I knew that I was going to end up back down here in this area. I didn't think I was going to be living in Thomasville. This is just not what I wanted for myself. But I am happy that I did it because there's a lot of different things that are happening for me since I've moved down here. A lot of different doors that are open for people. For me and for the people that are connected to me since I've been down here. And I'm glad that I'm able to witness all of this being here. And not just hearing it by word of mouth, but actually seeing it come to pass. Being there in the bad times and then seeing something good happen out of it. So for example, our church flooded. And we were in another building in less than a week. To see things like that happen, to see doors close and then a better door in the same area open, it's amazing, and I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited I've gotten to see this, and that I'm growing here. So now another very, very important moment for me this year was attending Activate with Tiffany Moyer. That was one of those times that I really saw why, when I knew that I heard God, and I was being obedient. And that's the other thing with moving to Thomasville. That was the first time I had heard God for real and knew that I had to be obedient. But with Activate, it was one of those things where I was just what? Why? And I remember when God told me to get into contact with Tiffany Moore. I'm how am I going to do that? Because I remember looking into her program before, and I was oh, that would be cool to do, but I don't think that, I'm ready to do that at this moment. And God said, get in contact with her. And I said, okay. This was months later. He said, get in contact with her. And I'm why? So I went and looked at her Instagram, and I don't remember if you guys have seen this story on my IGTV for Thankful Thursday. But make sure you're following me on Instagram at Young, Saved, and Free. And she was actually hosting the Activate retreat in Augusta, of all places. She's from Connecticut, so I'm what is she doing coming to Augusta? But when I went there, it was preparing me for what I'm about to go through now as far as training. And also it took me through a place of deliverance that I needed to be in to enter the next season of my life. And it's so crazy that it happened the way it did, because I wasn't going to go to, like, I was going to go to, like, Atlanta, you know, she was going to be in Atlanta. But the fact that she came to Augusta, of all places, was like, okay, God. I said, okay, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to go. Only thing I had to do was pay for my ticket. I didn't have to pay for no hotel because I lived in Augusta. I didn't have to pay for no gas, nothing. Because I lived in Augusta. I literally drove 5 minutes from work to the hotel that she was hosting the conference at. And I was just so amazed with God because of that. Something that I'm also very, very, very excited about for 2019 is that I became a member of Black Christian Influencers. Now for me, that was something very, very, very special to me, because I don't even have 500 followers on Instagram yet. So for me to have built this platform from the ground up, from January 1st, 2018 was when I started, to now, and to be recognized by somebody so big, I'm like, because I didn't seek out Black Christian influencers at all. I didn't. So for Miss Jackie to even find me and say, hey, I really like your content and I like the message that you display to people. I want you to be part of Black Christian Influencers. Do you have a business or anything? No, I didn't have a business at this time, but literally all I was doing was just posting what God told me to post, and I was getting recognized for it. And because of that, I got to go to Young Leaders Conference in Atlanta and got to witness something so amazing. 5,000 people were there. They were able to pay off over $1 million in hospital debt, like a medical bill debt, whatever you want to call it. To witness something like that, and to be invited to something like that because of my efforts, my obedience, that was awesome. It was an awesome moment for me. And also because I've been part of BC, one of the things that I've also been able to experience this year is receiving genuine love and support. I have gotten to a place where I'm just to myself. I don't really fool with a lot of people because I don't know a lot of people's motives. So I just kind of like stay back and, work on what I'm supposed to be working on and don't really care what anybody has to say about it. And so this year, for complete strangers to support me, to see what I'm doing, like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Oh my God, like, you're doing something so great. And I'm just not even thinking that much of it. But for people to support me the way that they do. And also for, my pastor, my first lady from home. When I told them that I had to move for ministry, they didn't like, we're done with you. They didn't write me off. They didn't do none of that. They said, we need to make sure that we talk every week. And I said, okay. I'll do that. And I haven't lost a thing from them. Like, I love them. I genuinely love them. I love my spiritual parents. I need them. And even when people, don't understand why I'm so attached to them or why I do the things I do for them, it's because they've been there for me. So, and one of the things that they've helped me with is also another moment in 2019 is coming to terms with who I am. And I mean that the spiritual, the natural, a lot of times I just want to be accepted. So, and I don't know why I feel like I'm about to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not crying in this video. I refuse. I'm not going to cry. So a lot of times I just want to be accepted because I don't have a lot of people that really understand. And so being here, a lot of people still don't understand because there are a lot of people here that just haven't had a real life. All they know is get through high school and now you work it. They've never went off to college. They've never, been out in the streets like I was. So they didn't really, experience life the way that I did. So for me to understand that I went on that path for a reason, and to understand that, God is still using me in a in the spiritual sense, to know that God is still able to use me, even though, I've gone through all these things, and realizing that He has a big plan for me. And for people who don't even know me to come up and say, God has big plans for you. God is pleased with what you're doing. God is this, God is that. God is, understanding that I'm not as... It's one thing to stay humble, but for me to not acknowledge what he's doing in my life, I had to stop doing that. I had to stop acting like I'm nobody. I mean, I am nobody, but like, I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to get it out at this moment. But y'all know what I mean. So number 7, one of the things that was one of the best moments for me in 2019 was seeing my gifts make room for me. So I've always written, like, all the time. Like, that's always been my thing. I love to write. I love to write. And so to be asked to do certain things, and to be part of different organizations because of those skills that I have that I just didn't think much of, and for that to open so many doors to me. So for instance, going to Go Getter Conference, I got my ticket because I was writing for Epic Fab Girl at the time. And, for other people, I've been actually hired to write for them. And so I'm in the process of starting a business where I do social media management and ghostwriting. And it's something that I've been doing for years and didn't even realize it. Like, I have been doing social media stuff since 2010 and it's always came very natural to me. So for people to see, little things that I'm doing here and there. So like, I run my aunt's social media platform. So if you're not following Sharon.D.Edwards on Instagram, do that. And to see the content, be like, they would ask her, how are you doing this stuff? How did you make that? And she's like, oh, my niece did that. She's like, all that stuff my niece did. And they're like, oh, I need you to do this, that for me. And I'm like, oh, this is a real need for people. Like, I was just doing stuff that I know how to do. I didn't think nothing of it. But my gifts were making room for me the whole time. Now, one of the biggest things for me for this year was my family seeing my testimony. Specifically, my parents. Because they were there when I was going through and I couldn't, it was very, very hard for me to get a job in Augusta, even though I was very much so qualified for a lot of different positions. To go from that to being asked to be at interviews almost every other day, it seemed to be, to have them scheduled all the time, is amazing. And so for my parents to witness me, even coming down here, I was working at a hotel and I was getting interviews all the time. And to finally get a job where I'm, getting paid, not what I should be. Well, I'm not going to say that. To see the difference in what I was paid at the hotel to where I am now, and to know that I'm still could make more money than that right now. For them to witness that and to not believe in prophecy, that's not part of their ministry. So for them to witness that, and for my mom I remember one day my mom was on the phone and she was like, I'm so amazed at your testimony. Like, she said that and I was just like, what? Like, she's like, you said that God told you to move and you did it, and now look at where you are now. And she was just like, for me, I'm not gonna do this. For her to say that, for her and my dad to see that, and they don't believe in prophecy, they don't believe in God speaking to you, they don't believe in that kind of stuff. So for her to even say that to me was a huge deal for me. And I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for that. And one of the things I had to do in 2019 was let the dead weight fall off, and that was the best thing that I could have ever done. Because even after I let it fall off before, I picked it back up. But I let it go again. And I'm like, I feel so much freer. I don't feel like I have to look out for certain people anymore. I don't feel like I have to consider these other people, when I'm making decisions for my life or when I'm doing certain things, because they don't matter. They really don't matter at that point. It's just about what me and God, whatever me and God has going on for me. That's what it's about at this time. And the number 10 thing that I put on this list was being able to grow young, saved, and free. I've grown a lot. Like this platform has grown tremendously in the last year, and I'm so excited and able to see what's going on. So for even to have this channel, even though I only have like 18 subscribers, that's okay. It's okay, because we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna keep doing what thus says the Lord. But it's amazing that this has gotten this far. Now, for the lessons that I learned in 2019, first and foremost, that obedience is the way. That is the first thing that I learned. That was one of the biggest things that I learned for this year. So, just being obedient to what God says and not, trying to do it in my own will. Just doing when He say do it. That's definitely one of the things I had to learn this year. So even with this move, going to Activate, becoming part of Black Christian Influencers, going to Young Leaders Conference, all those things were done out of obedience. And it's tremendously impacted my life. Now, one of the other things that I learned because of that is that God gives understanding. So when I say that, like I mentioned my parents before, when I knew that God was telling me to move, I was afraid to tell my pastor that I knew that I had to move. But he already knew. At that time, he already knew. He told me that he knew. And so, for him to be understanding in that time, he was sad that I had to go, but he was understanding at the same time. And for my mom to, also say she knew that I was going to have to move back down to this area, it was a big deal for me. So for me, just the fact that they were so understanding, it gave me a little bit more peace about it. And, I felt okay to do what I heard God to do. Not that I needed man's approval, but I didn't want to go on bad terms too. And one thing that I also learned is that drought grows faith, and I have gotten that phrase from Elder Mark Moore, Elder Mark Moore Jr., who is the founder of Young Leaders Conference. In his sermon that he actually preached during Young Leaders Conference, he said that drought grows faith. Nothing grows in the desert but faith. And what I had to learn over the last however many years, 3-4 years almost, is that that's the only thing. Like, that was what was growing. My finances weren't growing. My finances were depleted. But my faith was growing still. I still trusted God, even when I didn't have the way to, pay this or pay that, or when I moved down here, I didn't know where I was going to go. My faith grew. And another thing that I learned is that somebody is always watching. God is always watching, but even when I mentioned in the, some of the best moments that I had this year was joining BCI and going to Go Getter Conference, going to Young Leaders Conference. A lot of those people that were there at the conference knew who I was because of what I was doing. And I don't think so highly of myself or what I'm doing that, I'm better than this person or I'm better than that person. I just do it out of the pureness of my heart. And to know that, you're not verified on Instagram. You don't even have 1,000 followers, but we love your content. You're genuine in your content. And we love that, that you're doing this. And to, even with serving at church, I do it because I want to. I do it because it's necessary. And, I know that nobody else is going to do it, and it has to be done. So I do it. But I do it and I don't have an attitude about it. And for people to be like, you genuinely enjoy serving, and I'm like, I do. I don't care to be in anybody's pulpit. I don't want to be in anybody's pulpit unless that's what God has for me. I don't want any of those things. All I want to do is to serve. But people are always watching, and they that's why it's important that you do everything with excellence, because you're a representation of the person that you're serving. One of the things I also had to learn in 2019 is to accept what God allows. There have been a lot of different things that have happened this year that kind of caused some confusion in my life, and instead of me trying to figure it out or why it happened the way that it did, I had to just come to terms with God allowed it to happen. So, that's what happened in this moment. But that's a big pill for me to swallow, because I always want to understand. I always feel like I need to know every little moving piece, and to be in a place where I'm like, okay, God, you said this, so this is what I'm going to have to accept, because this is what you allow to happen. And another thing that I had to learn is that not everyone is in your life forever. There have been some people in my life that I had to let go. 2019, it was done. Absolutely done. January 1st, they were out. Some people, and it's people that I've been close to for years that I was they weren't forever people for me. But my, even with people that I've been friends with 15, 16 years, 14, 15 years, not that, wait a minute, 14, 15 years, I had to let it go because they just weren't forever friends for me. And, even in that, the other thing that I had to learn is that what God has for me is for me. So even though those people aren't around anymore, I still have people that I can depend on, people that I can trust in, people that I can, that I can confide in. Because you get to a place where you like, you know what? If God didn't send you, then I'm not available. I'm not. I think God is Dope makes a shirt that says that. But real life, like if God didn't send you, I'm not available. Not for friendship, not for relationship, not for any of that. Like, I'm just not. One very, very, very important thing that I probably should have said after number one is that you should never doubt what you hear God say. Had I doubted that I heard God say that I needed to move to Tallahassee, I wouldn't be here. And two, all these opportunities wouldn't have been presented to me the way that they were. I would never give myself the title of prophet or anything like that. But when I heard God say it, I knew that it was God. But the reaction that I got out of some people when I was trying to explain why I was moving made me feel like maybe that wasn't God, or maybe I missed God. Because even when I decided to move, I came down here with no job. And leading up until the day that I moved, I said, well, God, nothing's happening and you want me to move, but what am I supposed to do? I don't have a job. I don't have a lot of different things. But God said, you heard what I said. So just do it. I'm a man of my word. And so one of the other things that I learned was that what God has for me is actually for me. There's nothing that nobody can take from me. Even in the place that I was in Augusta, as far as the business that I'm starting that I mentioned earlier, I could have done that from Augusta, absolutely. But I would have a bigger market here where there's a lot of new entrepreneurs here that don't know how to do social media at all. And that's something I've been doing forever. And so I'm like, wow, like, yeah. And when the business first crossed my mind, or it was thrown in my lap, I was like, I can't do that. There's people that I look up to that do this, and they're way better at it than I am. They're way better at it. They know way more than I do. Why would I want to step on their toes? But not everybody's their customer. Not everybody's my customer. And I had to learn that. Because what God has for me, it is for me. Then that's it. Point blank, period. And the last thing that I was going to say is something that I learned from Miss Crystal, and that is to never stop growing. I'll never forget this conversation we had during one of the, I want to say it was one of the life coaching sessions. And if you're not in her life coaching program, you should definitely, life and business coaching program, I would definitely recommend it. I'm sorry, I'm like scratching, I'm itching really bad. I don't really know why. But one of the things she says that her daughter's teacher emailed her and told her that she was so impressed with her daughter because they asked her, what does she want to be when I grow up? And she said, my mama said, you should never stop growing. And that is such a thing, because I think for me, I'm such a deadline person, like, and I hate to say deadline, but like, I'm like, I wanted to have kids by this time. I wanted to be married by this time. I wanted to, to have my master's degree by this time. I wanted to have this by this time. So I put limits on myself, but I should never stop growing. I wanted to have my business started by this time. I wanted to do this by this time, but never stop growing and change unapologetically. Like, that is something I learned from her, and I will always hold near and dear to my heart. But that is all I have for you. What are some of the things that you guys learned in 2019? Leave them in the comments below. And I hope that you all are going to have a great new year. And I love you. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.